Alright, welcome to Mission 3 in my playthrough and lore discussion of the Knife of Dunwall. This is the last mission, and it's a pretty short mission, but there are a couple of really long books, so I'm not sure how long I'll get through, so I guess we'll see. I'll skip the books that I've already read in previous missions, so that should cut down on things. Okay, let's go. Daud's hideout, the Surge. Delilah is a powerful witch who leads a coven that has moved into the ruins of Brigmore Manor. You've returned to your hidden base in the flooded district to plan your next move. New upgrades, improved armor, and extra stun mine charge. Definitely get those. No favors for this mission. Get those upgrades. More sleep darts. I'll get some of these, but there are a lot you encounter in the game, so I won't buy them all. I don't know what I'm saving my coin for, actually. It's the last mission. I'll probably carry over my stats to the next, to Brigmore Witches. Let me get that reload. That'll be useful. Okay, let's go. So here's, of course, where Corvo exited through here at the end of the flooded district mission in the base game. Now we're going in the same way.
Daud, we've been attacked. Overseers are tearing the place apart. Looking for you. They're holding our remaining men, and their leader is in your chambers as we speak. If we take him out and free our men, we can still drive the Overseers back.
I want to know how the bastards found us in the first place.
Just got nothing to say to that. Huh? In High Chaos, it's not Billy, it's another assassin. I think it's the same voice actor as Thomas. I'm going to just assume it's Thomas, even though it doesn't say it. So, get those free, so don't need to buy those. And our first book, Meeting Daud. So this is actually Billy's account of meeting Daud. Another stinking mouth, that's what my mother said. A mouth that need feeding for years on, that would sass her every time it opened. First words I can remember her saying that. Witchy, drunk for so long that her eyes stopped working for good. Drunken ocean, it seemed to me. I left the patched up shack we called home. But before heading out, I reminded her of all the times she put her hands on me or thrown me something at my head. The night she'd rushed me like an ox and sent me down the back stair. All the time she told me I was just another stinking mouth. Last thing I heard was her cursing me from her bed. Cursing the blind dark. Running with my pals, we had to stay sharp to make enough coin to keep from starving. Same story across the aisles. Not the biggest kids, but sometimes the smartest and the meanest when we needed to be. The only way to stay off the back alley mattresses. Not desperate enough to go out on the drain flats with the mudlarks, so it was the knife for us, trying to catch the eye of the Hatters or the boys from Bottle Street so they'd take us on. But when a dandy from Serkono stepped down from his polished coach and cracked my dear Deirdre's pretty head and left her twitching and dying in the muck, I snapped off one of the wooden gazelles off the top of the coach and drove the splintered end into his eye as deep as it would go. Last I saw of Deirdre, she was still, eyes wide to the gray sky. But now I like to remember her with a smile, laughing from the void at the one-eyed dandy with the gazelle coming out of his head. Of course, we now know that's Redan Isabel, the younger son of the Duke of Serkonos. No one would take me after that. The City Watch made a full sweep once a week for months, trying to catch me. Even the Grand Guard came in from Karnaca down in Serkonos. It seems the dandy's daddy was the Duke of Serkonos. I was too much trouble for my friends from the old neighborhood. Anyone who saw me tried to drive me away, threw rocks to get me to leave, or tried to get a bag over my head, hungry for the reward. Even the gangs cursed me on sight. Billy's bad luck, they'd say. Hexed. She'll make it bad for all of us. You may think you know what loneliness is, but I can tell you, you don't. By late in the month of harvest, I had a hate inside me that would have choked most. Then I met Daud. It was early in the dark morning, the only time I could go out. Walking the streets of the legal district, I saw them up ahead. 3 who looked like boys from the City Watch, but dressed out of uniform. They were out for blood and coin. running some kind of murder racket, waiting on a drunk barrister to stagger out of a bar at just the right time. I didn't see him at first, but in the flicker of an eyelid he was on them, out of the cold night air. He used a single blade, nothing else, and it only touched each of them once, at the left side of the throat. Their blood splattered and steamed on the cobbles. Quick movements and an occasional grunt, dark hair and the glimpse of a long scar down his face. When it was over, he made for the rooftops. I'd never seen the like of it, so I followed. I could have stayed and looted the poor bastards he left bleeding. Could have eaten for a month, most likely. But this seemed bigger. So I tried to stay up with him, tried to stay hidden without losing sight of him. All across Dunwall, into the wrecked and ruined parts. He crossed into what I could tell was his territory, hidden sentries and odd masks. I thought I had seen everything in the city, all the gangs, but this was something else. Clinging to roof tiles and watching him from behind chimneys, I watched, then followed him into an old building. Inside was all gloom. Rotted carpets and desks full of rat-eaten papers, paintings ruined by the wet. There were weapons and practice dummies. Men lived here in secret, training with knives and crossbows. I lost track of him and continued to explore, but I was a fool. He knew I was following and came up from behind. When I saw him, I froze, waiting for him to speak. You followed me, found this place, and now you're not begging or running for your life. There's nowhere to run, I said, and I'm not very attached to it, to tell the truth. He came close and looked me right in the eyes, trying to see some light inside that would tell him my story. You think you're already dead inside, but I'll give you something to fight for. You'll fight for me and kill people like the ones who've hurt you. I just nodded, feeling relief for the first time in months. Alright, so that's Billy's first encounter with Daud. I haven't talked too much about Billy's backstory because it's in the game, so I don't need to talk about it even more in the next game. The next book is on one of these floors. I don't think it's this one. Or that one. Oh no, it's over there. Okay.
Careful. Your careless words will bring us both down.
You worry too much.
Let's see if I can get some of these guys from a distance.
Things are bad. Could the city get any worse?
Indeed, I believe so. Let my hands not hear you. To me. Get behind it. Firing. Watch it.
These guys are really good at falling off the ledges. Yep. Alright, well, I guess those count as kills.
Where are you?
So obviously this
Get
takes
yourself up. Come out.
this takes place
Both know you're
well
weak at
before
heart.
when Corvo gets here in the base game.
I know
Both
you're
DLCs
here.
too.
Oh, I'll find you.
So the main overseer assault.
Will our sisters in the oracular order make a pronouncement regarding the plague soon?
Nope. The main overseer assault is all we see is the aftermath when Corvo gets there, but this is like a premature memoirs, excerpt from a captain's deathbed memoirs. I tell you, the very sight of the animal is uplifting. Its size rivals the largest boats, and its songs resound across the ocean. The great fins are as long as two men. A single fin is as black as the rocks at the bottom of the darkest waters, but the remainder of the animal is as white as Tyvian snow. Even the tentacles hanging beneath its face are the palest white, twisting and dragging in the cold depths. When the great whale breaks, everything else is lost from focus, distant and diminished, as if you were transported to a lost, lonely place that does not, cannot exist. My entire life I ran from this dream. I ran after this dream, burned into my mind when I was but 10 years old. Since my first year at sea, the apparition has never left me. I have hunted its trace, following half-told rumors or the thinnest of clues. Part of a song played by musicians in a Morley pub at the edge of a town north of Kilkenny. Once from a sketch found among the belongings of a dead sailor. On rare occasion, I was guided by more substantial evidence, an evening's meal and conversation with the captain who had sighted the great whale a season past. At 13, I was already well familiar with whaler foam, and by 16 years I was second captain sailing uncharted stretches of sea. When I got my own rickety boat at 20, I was already known as the bloodiest whale hunter in all the Isles, the most consumed, the maddest with frustration. Hunting and killing hundreds of whales, I never saw it again. I drove my ship and my men like hounds in the worst winter. Over a lifetime I carried my hope of seeing it, touching the cool dead flesh once it was hoisted over the deck. I needed to hear its song again, to understand the effect it had over me, to immerse myself in its final moments of life. Now, racing against my age and infirmity, my growing madness is killing this vision, this childhood dream, so that I wonder if it was ever real to begin with. My life seems already written, and I have failed. I realize now that it was crazy, this dream. Did it really exist in this world? In mine? Yes. It's kind of a Moby Dick-like narrative. But yeah, a lot of narratives about whales that I think were maybe written for the first game, but they kind of cut, and now they're here just to use them. So we get it. Whales are important. Oh well. But yeah, anyway, this small force of overseers acted prematurely, attacking first to try and get the glory all themselves, which will be their undoing. Already here.
Now, keep close watch. Someone get over here. Hold on. Someone's down.
Of course, we already have Daud's key to open all these cabinets because we are Daud. Okay, and I think a book over here. The Deep Watchers, excerpt from a natural philosopher's journal. Before the cable snapped, there was nothing to see, nothing to report. My lantern revealed only an endless depth below, and my mission felt like a bitter failure. I would have returned to the surface empty-handed, but now, at the cost of my life, I've made a profound discovery. So I write these words in the hope that someday my companions will recover this diving bell, which has become my tomb, and find this journal. I want others to know what I have seen here, what extraordinary events have transpired. Frost is gathering on the inside of the thick portals, and my breath is misty. It has been 6 hours since this ill-fated adventure began, and my calculations make it clear that there is no more than an hour of good air remaining within the sphere. What brought me here? Curiosity? A desire for glory? Financial gain? In all the months I spent designing this submersible, my mind has been fixated on the minute details, tempering the glass portals, the airflow from the surface to this sphere, the ingenious switch that would allow communication via bells with the ship above. I pored over every element in the design and construction of this apparatus. Why had I never considered that the creatures here might resent my intrusion, that they would lash out at the iron monstrosity plunging deep into the unfathomable darkness? It happened in an instant. Out of the inky depths, the great fluke of a whale slid past my lantern, casting wide shadows into nothing. A second later, what had been a steady, controlled descent became a gut-churning tumble. The metal around me groaned, and I felt certain that the sphere would soon implode from the pressure. The spinning dizzied me such that I could scarcely keep my feet. Then the savage collision whereupon my skull struck the deck, and I blacked out. A precious hour of my time was spent in that fitful sleep, and when I awoke, the sickening realization came upon me, cut off, unfettered, completely removed from the world above, with no chance of returning. I extinguished my lantern some time ago in order to conserve air, and only then did the ghostly radiance of the seafloor reach my eyes. Not the seafloor itself, but the tiny, tentacled creatures that swarm over it. They create a carpet of soft colors twisting and moving in waves, as if they are singing with light. It is in this dim luminosity that I can see them, the leviathans, the great whales, Here, in their domain, they move with grace and elegance, with purpose. They have approached this sphere repeatedly now, one almost touching the portal with her great eye. As I stare into the orb, it is clear to me that the thing is not mindlessly searching for prey. It is observing me. It is curious. One by one they approach and peer in my window. There is an unnerving sense of intelligence in that gaze, devoid of malevolence. For a time they examine me, my predicament, and allow themselves to drift off to trace the broken cables along the sea floor. I dream that one will take the cables in its great jaws and haul me back to the surface, but it is only a rapturous fantasy of the thinning atmosphere. I find myself gasping now, while the creatures move away and watch from a distance. Their song is different here. I've heard it for years on the surface, but here it is soulful and moving. The natural philosopher in me is beginning to suspect that the song has notes that we cannot even detect. But here in the depths they can be felt. I believe they are trying to comfort me while I die. First Researcher Douglas Church, ESS Keeper, Forward Exploratory Vessel, Academy of Natural Philosophy. It's a mini submarine. A prototype submarine.
Get yourself up.
I've already got all this stuff. Oh, I'll take that though.
When I find you, it's going to be bad. All right. I won't be catching this rat bastard. Should we gather for whiskey and cigars tonight? Yes, of course.
So we gather that Hume is hungry for personal glory, very ambitious. When he wants to be high overseer. He thinks he will be. So he launched this attack all on his own, and he thinks he's won.
This one's done. There isn't any fight left. Might be worth checking out.
Down!
Thank you. I'll wait for your word.
Heretical artifact. Please log the superstitious artifact. It was found on one of Daud's men in a training area within the Commerce Building. There should be a crate in the temporary headquarters for items of this nature. Deposit it there after you create a log entry for it. Overseer Marcus. So I had thought in the base game that the assassins were in the kind of olive drab and red or red-brown costume, or novices, and they didn't have the ability to blink. So clearly that's not the case here, so maybe I was wrong, or maybe they just changed it.
We don't have time for useless speculation.
Oh, that's embarrassing. Let's pretend I didn't do that, alright? I'm supposed to be good at this game.
Impossible. Stop this nonsense. Focus on the task.
Alright, I think there's one more guy up here I didn't get. Yep, there he is.
I hear you.
Glad it's so forgiving. I can still grab him after I'm partly detected.
I'll watch for your sign.
Won't complain, but... And there is a bone charm down here. Yeah, it's in this cabinet here. So I got an extra slot. Take some extra mana. And let's get stop time. I don't know why. I never remember to use it. Before I go see Hume, other things. So you got this statue of Jessamine, and there's actually an achievement. If you drop assassinate someone from up here, you can get an achievement. Is there a guide? Oh, no. I thought I saw a guide down there.
Should we gather for whiskey and cigars
Oh, it's just
tonight?
that flicker.
Never doubt.
Is there another one here? There's one. Okay. Yep, all the way from there. Alright, so if you do that, you get an achievement. I think it's called A Message from the Empress.
That might be worth
Oh,
checking
that was a
out.
hit. Come on. So, if you knock out bodies and they fall into deep water, they die immediately. I'm not sure about shallow water, but if you're going for non-lethal, you might want to pick them up out of the puddles and make sure they don't drown in the shallow water. I'm sure it's more artful to sneak up and choke him out, but
I'll survive. I'll await your signal.
yeah, they can blink. All right. Alright, one more of these guys in the back line. It's always the hardest. 'Cause you've basically only got 2 ways to approach.
Sisters in the oracular order make a pronouncement regarding the plagues.
Let me put one up, or stub mine up here first. They always like to come down this way and check.
This is a waste. These ones never talk.
Heard what? Guards, to me! We'll burn your body.
Jeez. And there I drown in the puddle.
We both know you're weak.
I always forget about these guys' complete willingness to shoot at their own guys. They do not care about friendly fire at all. Alright, let's go with the sleep darts. It's boring, but it works.
This is... These ones never talk. What? Got you now.
If you don't rescue your this assassin in time, they actually just execute him. So there is a little bit of a time dependency on this, but it's not
I'll
so bad.
survive. I'll await your signal.
Just throw them in here so they don't drown. I don't think it matters at this point. I'm not going to get high chaos anyway, but... Right, there's a book back here. Or just a note Really. Pump system report. Log entry. Standing water, not more than ankle deep. Something must be blocking the drainage. Log entry. Drainage was cleared, and the standing water isn't an issue any longer. Note. Pump system may be insufficient for high volume situations. I think this qualifies. Log entry. Waist-high water drainage problems again. The accountants are going to have to swim to work if something isn't done about the pump system. Log. Last day in Redshore. My new post starts tomorrow. I've restated my concerns about the pumps. I suggest my replacement check the valve pressures and system mechanical integrity immediately. A little too late for that. Yeah, it didn't really take the flooding too seriously until it was too late. But you see, the level of flooding is a little bit different than in the base game, so it changes over time. Abandoned journal. I've managed to make a space for myself here. Thankfully, Redshore is all but completely abandoned. Up in this room, I'm protected from the occasional scavenger and the flooding during heavy rain. I'd like to return to my office in the Commerce Building to see if I can find some of my old books, but I've yet to build up the courage. Eventually, I'll run out of canned meats, and then I'll have no choice. No need for courage when desperation kicks in.
What is? Present yourself. Clear the line.
Ow, I got stuck in that doorway. That was my fault. I got stuck there. Something happened there. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. This is a nice little choke point if you want to use it to
Things are bad.
draw
Could the
them
city
in
get
and
any
take
worse?
them down
Chances are very good.
one at a time or a few at a time.
When I find you, here you are. Behind you.
Legs are a good, I think I said it before with the butchers, legs are a good target for the,
You'd like to reveal me to have an errant mind, but that
for the sleep darts if they have
It looked
armor
like
in
you just
front.
disappeared. I know you're here. Oh, I'll find you.
Peace and quiet.
Get up. Right now. I know you're here somewhere.
Almost.
Hear me?
get yourself up. Come out. We both know you're weak at heart.
I know you're here somewhere, scum.
Let my hand
Got you
be
now.
restless. Reveal yourself.
Oh, that's right. Alright, out of patience. Now you get the explosive bolt. See if I can use up this last. Oh, still one more. Alright. Alright, actual peace and quiet. And there's a bone charm over here. It's kind of underneath this assassin's body here. there's anything in here. Just that. Oh, and a sleep dart. Take that. And this overlooks that that back alley that we were in before. Alright, here's the map of the flooded district, and you can see kind of, here's where we are now, and then in the base game, this is where we go. We come around to Greaves. Here's Greaves Refinery, where the gear is, and then we come back to this area, Daud's base. So the same route, and when we see the aftermath.
This map shows a coordinated sweep of the flooded district.
Of this
but
battle.
The overseers here didn't stick to the plan. Someone must have tipped them off.
I think I read all the strictures. Fourth stricture. Restrict the roving feet that love to trespass. They pay no heed to the boundary stones of a neighbor's fields. They wander into foreign lands only to return with their souls blackened by iniquity. Where have you strayed that destruction now comes behind you? Would you walk across burning coals or broken glass? Then why do you prowl into the homes of the honest or into the dens of hidden things? For the result is the same. You will fall into the void. Instead, rest your feet on a firm foundation so that when the winds of the outsider shriek against you, you will stand firm and not be overthrown. Their souls, S-O-L-Es, blackened by iniquity. Navigate the Everyman. Definitely read that. First structure, definitely read that. And here's a room. There's only two runes and 3 bone charms in the whole mission, so not too much. I think that's all the assassins, and then we go deal with Hume. He's surrounded by overseers, so that's why I kind of wanted to put it off a bit, because I know I'm going to be reloading multiple times. Hard to believe he can stand on these hanging lights, but whatever, I'll take it.
Think you'll get your own squad after what happened last night? Yes, of course.
What does all this mean? Could Daud have been working with the former Lord Protector?
Nope.
Wake up! Hear me? Assassin!
Those doors are deceptive because, I mean, they're closed, but they're glass, so they can see through them, kind of. So you think you're being stealthy, but you're actually being seen.
Indeed, I believe so.
What does all this mean? Could Daud have been working with the former Lord Protector? But sir, these drawings and maps appear to show that...
We don't have time for useless speculation. How will be here anymore? We must...
Yes, sir.
It's so close to figuring out the truth. Because there are maps of Dunwall Tower in there. So they're wondering if Daud actually was the one who killed the Empress. If you really want to do the full stealth, not like that, but you can just come up here and camp out and just wait for them to separate, take them out one at a time. But it's not that much fun to watch. So.
Let thy hands not be restless.
Hey,
reveal yourself.
wake up! Hear me? Rouse yourself. Wake up! Take it! Now the rats can fight.
Their field of vision is so inconsistent. I don't know. Sometimes
I'll find you.
I can't believe they don't
Get
see
up
me, and
right
other times I can't believe they do.
Rouse yourself. Wake up!
Let thy hands not be restless.
All right, way back here. That should be fine. There we go.
I know you're here somewhere, scum.
Get yourself up. Come out. We both know you.
All right, I give up. It was nothing. What was that? What?
Uh-oh. That was a bad place to save. Here's Billy.
Worship.
Alright, let's try that again. That was a bad choice. Alright, so if you fight Hume, he's got some dialogue. Some fight dialogue, so maybe I can see if I can get this triggered. I think all these books up here we already read in the main game, so don't think I'll read them again.
Damn it! Someone's down. Check under everything.
Let thy hands not be restless. Reveal yourself.
I know you're here somewhere.
Get yourself up.
Why am I
Come
not
out.
using bend
We
time?
both know you're weak at
Idiot.
heart. Wolf, it's you. I thought your victims never saw you. So much for the legend. I thought the great Daud was a master assassin, spinning his webs, worshipping at accursed shrines. All it took was one mistake, and you're finished. As the litany says, there are forces outside the world we know, and he that consorts with them shall be put to the sword. The infamous heretic Daud, taken out by the most clever overseer, Leonard Hume. I'll be in line for High Overseer when they see what I've done here.
This guy.
Okay, guards.
And then they give him NPC lines. Very kind of lazy. All right, but if you don't interact with him, there are some other dialogue lines. Let's see if I can trigger those.
Sir, if I could just say, the men aren't happy. The prisoners are secured, but the interrogations have been unsettling. The ones that talk are worse than the ones who won't, and there's still no sign of Daud.
We wait. Daud will show. Remind the men that they're overseers of the Abbey. That Daud is an aging mercenary who has deluded his followers for years.
Yes, sir. I just hate the stink of this place. But you are right, of course.
Inform the men we'll wait for Daud to show, and call for a messenger. I have to get this letter of our victory to the office of the High Overseer.
And congratulations on your victory.
Don't celebrate yet. Going over his boss's head. Claim credit.
What the? It's you. For me. I thought your victim was...
I always fall for that.
Sir,
Now I will remember
just
to use
say-
this.
The men aren't happy.
Overseer Pike, I have taken the Commerce Building. A temporary headquarters has been set up in a nearby structure. My men are dealing with a number of captives that should prove to be very informative. We have achieved a total victory here, catching the enemy by surprise. The plans for a larger coordinated assault were obviously unnecessary. I am confident that Daud will show himself and will be in our custody shortly. Overseer Leonard Hume. Yeah. So much for that. Daud's log. Yep, I read that in the main game. But here are two that I didn't. Daud's journal, Delilah Copperspoon. Who is she, and why is everyone afraid of her? Strange that a painter should have so much influence, or that she should have any connection to my life and what I've done. My fate is my own. Always has been. The problem is I don't know enough. There are missing pieces. I can't imagine how or why Delilah is linked to the death of the Empress, but the outsider wouldn't bother saying it unless it contained some grain of truth. Now it's driving me mad, like a puzzle I can't get out of my head. A riddle in pigment and blood. No doubt that black-eyed bastard takes delight in watching me twist into knots. He knows I can't abide a mystery. Billy has little insight to offer. None of the usual vitriol when I bring up the name Delilah. Just a shrug. Just tell me how you want this handled. It's odd behavior from Rourke. If I find this Delilah and cut her throat, maybe I can dodge what's coming, the consequences the outsider spoke of. Or maybe ending her life will bring the entire city down on my head. When I face her, will I see the eyes of the Empress? Can I go through with it, even if it's the only way to save my own skin? Somehow I suspect there's more to Delilah than portraits and sculptures. I'll find out more when I talk to the Timpsh family. So this is obviously was written just before the last mission. And then Daud's journal, Billy Lurk. Billy Lurk watches me closely, studying my decisions, each move I make. That's nothing new. Even as a kid, there was a quiet curiosity there, though curiosity is not quite the right word. But lately it seems more intense. I feel the hairs on my neck standing up, only realizing a moment later that Lurk is on a roof or a balcony nearby. Some mornings some of my papers seem to be moved, maybe poured over. When we're alone, and Billy's comfortable with the mask off, questions come from odd angles, unrelated to our mission or to a specific target. Questions about what I'm thinking, about my attitude toward the target. It's odd. Something to watch, another puzzle. Every one of my whalers is good, though my gifts seem stronger in some than in others. The outsider's mark is a mystery in this way, not something I can control. Those who remain with me either gain in the use of my extraordinary abilities, or they don't. Those who don't, I just push toward the blade, crossbow, or the study of poisons. Everyone among them serves in some way, and together we've spilled a sea of blood. Lurk is a quicker study than most, but stays aloof from the others. It's no matter to me, as long as the orders get carried out. And so he's starting to suspect something's up with Billy. And indeed there is. Alright, that's all the enemies. I think we just have to trigger the final cutscenes. And yeah, all these books I've already read. I'll open them quickly in case for some reason anyone wants to read them again. Pause and read them again. You can. I don't know why anyone would. I'm sure no one will, but I'll do it anyway. Whatever.
Give the word, sir. What's our next move?
Capture as many as you can. Their plans are ruined.
So now when the main force, the coordinated assault comes, the assassins are already waiting for them. So that explains all the bodies you see in the main game is Corvo. I always put mines right there. See if I can trigger them when Delilah shows up, but they never do.
The attack and find out what else he knows. As soon as he's conscious. It seems the Overseers are marching into the flooded district, planning a massive assault against us. This Overseer Hume went against orders and attacked early. Our men, the ones you freed, were able to rout the remaining zealots. This place belongs to us again.
How did the cursed Overseers find us?
It's my fault. I told Delilah where we were hidden. She wanted me to turn on you.
You did this.
But I can't go through with it.
Stupid child. All you had to do was cut his throat.
He deserves better. I was an idiot to listen to you.
So that's your choice then, Daud. Her betrayal would have been the sweetest. But either way, the Brigmore witches will be your end. You should have forgotten my name the day you heard it.
I think it was always understood between us that I'd see my moment and take your place. I moved too early. You weren't weak, like I thought. I'm only sorry I didn't pick a better ally. Delilah made contact with the Overseers. I thought, between the three of us, we'd have you dead to rights.
Maybe she doesn't have the standard assassin
Overseer
body
Hume
model.
was too quick to move.
My life is yours now. Kill me, or let me live.
She still has pretty broad shoulders, though.
If it even matters to you.
Touching and pathetic. If I see either of you again, I'll tear out your stone-cold hearts and walk in your skin.
Okay, so obviously in High Chaos, she doesn't admit it. She just fights you, and you have to fight her. But she's in the second game, obviously, so do the canonical thing.
Get out of here. Leave the city. Leave my sight, Billy. I give you your life.
When Billy Lurk was 8, she wanted to be the captain of a ship. From the moment she met you, all she wanted was to be a killer. She watched you, learned from you, and then she saw you losing your grip and decided to take your place. And now, she's limping to the outskirts of the city. She'll pay a smuggler to get past quarantine. She'll watch herself for signs of plague for a while. Gradually, the fear and grief that seep into your bones in Dunwall will dissipate, and she'll find a new name and a new use for her skills. Even if Dunwall burns to the ground, one corner of the Empire will still know your story. Daud. killer of an empress, Daud, who spared his betrayer's life.
Okay, 8 kills. Still low chaos, obviously. Special actions, spared Billy, rescued the assassins, eliminate all the overseers armed with music boxes. Oh yeah, only 2 runes, 3 bone charms, no shrines, and no coins. So not a whole lot in that mission. Alright, that is the Knife of Dunwall. Probably go into Brigmore Witches pretty soon. Maybe not next week, but probably soon after that. But anyway, yeah. That's it. Yeah, looks like I got through the whole thing in one again. So hope you enjoyed it. Yeah. If you're watching at this point, please continue watching and do all the things that, like and subscribe, tick the bell for notifications and all that crap that I hate people saying. But all right, thanks a lot.